Lorraine. Yes.
Oh, Doug, it's so good to see you.
Yes, not Lorraine.
You say here, sweetie.
That's a wonderful contact.
You look beautiful.
Except she was flattered. She was flattered. Come sit, baby. Us. We have these chairs. Okay, family. Yeah, family's in the front. I'll take your seat. Chelsea, come with mother. Come here. It's a wild one. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, now listen to me. No. Sit. 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 Okay. Did it, Lorraine? Will you get up to speed? Actually, can you take Chelsea? No, because we're gonna. So I can, but Lorraine, can you just come here, come with that.
She's actually remained here even though her family.
You can sit there too.
Come here, Chelsea. Come here, come with that.
Chelsea, if you want, it's okay. I think they're funny. Hi, Chelsea.
Ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to come much closer. You'll be able to hear much better. There are a number of open chairs. Family's been seated, so please don't be bashful. Take some of these chairs. And one last thing is to remind you to turn off all cell phones.
Before we begin, given the current infection spread, the family has requested that COVID protocols of distancing be observed. And while we want to reach out and be supportive of each other in times, especially in times of loss, please refrain from hugging. Adonai, your judgments at times puzzle us, but we placed our trust in your righteousness and accept our lot and our loss. For were immortal to live but a single year or even 1,000, it would not seem enough. Your discretion is beyond us. Therefore, in the wisdom of our tradition, we begin our morning by offering these words of blessing. Baruch Dayan Ha'emet, praised is the judge of truth. Adonai Natan v'Adonai Lakach, Yehi Shem Adonai Mevorach. Adonai has given, Adonai has taken. Praise be the name of God. Every one of us is given the gift of life. If it is preserved jealously and selfishly, it impoverishes and saddens. But when it is spent on others, it enriches and beautifies. Life is not a having and a getting, but a being and a becoming. Life is action and passion. To live well, we must have a faith to live by, a self fit to live with, and a work to live for. Be such a human being and live such a life that if every human being were such as you, and every life like yours, this world would be God's paradise. We are given the gift of life one day at a time, and each new day is a gift. Praise be Adonai, whose gift is life. But it's hard to speak of life's gifts when the one who brought wholeness to our lives is gone. Memory can fill the emptiness, but memory can only tell us what we were in their company. It cannot help us find what each of us must now become. Those who have left us remain within our thoughts and in our words and in our hearts. And what they did is part of what we have become. We do homage to their lives when we live our life more fully, even in the shadow of loss. Adonai Eloheinu Shatahu Elohei Avoteinu Ve'alambar Urchayenu Magen Yishenu Atahu Atahu Medur Madur Motim Anachnu Lo. We acknowledge you, Adonai, our God and God of our ancestors forever. You are the rock of our lives and the shield of salvation in every generation. Lorraine had an impact on people, and she accepted them as family and friends. Regardless of what one calls the divine, who someone was, who someone is, counted to her more. I invite her friend of 10 years, Mirror Wise, Norzai, did I say it right? To share a reading from the Quran.
Salam and shalom for all of you. Take a look around. You'll see what represents Lorraine. All of us, different colors, different religions, different people. But what we had in common was Lorraine. That's the reason we're here. I will read a verse from Quran and then I'll translate. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. يا أيها الناس إنا خلقكم من ذكر وأنثى وجعلناكم شعوبا وقبائل لتعارفوا إن أكرمكم إن الله أنفسكم إن الله عليم خبير. O mankind, we created you from a male and a female, and we made you into nations and tribes that you may know one another. And verily, the most honorable of you are the pious ones. And God is all knowing. With a heavy heart, I am here to celebrate Lorraine's life. And at the same time, while she will be gone physically, I pray that her spirit lives amongst all of us, that we continue who Lorraine was and how Lorraine perceived everyone. From the moment I met her, she opened her arms and she kissed me and she welcomed me to the family. And I will never forget that. A couple of days before she passed, I was talking to her on the phone. I told her I love you. And the last word she told me, I love you. And that's who Lorraine is. May God bless her and God bless all of them.
Look around us, search above us, below, behind. We stand in a great web of being together, joined. Blessed is the earth from which we grow. Blessed the life we are lent. Blessed are the ones who teach us and the ones we teach. Blessed is the word that cannot say, the glory that shines through us and remains to shine, flowing past distant suns on the way to forever. Blessed is the light, blessed is the darkness, but blessed above all else is peace, which bears the fruit of knowledge on strong branches. Peace that bears joy into the world, peace that enables love, peace over everyone, everywhere. Blessed and holy is peace. We remember Lorraine through praise of her life. I invite up Claudia, Heller, Maddie, and Terry to share words of remembrance.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. As I look out upon all of you, I see love. I see all the people that my mother has loved in her life and taken into her heart and impacted in such an amazingly positive way. I feel like my dear friend and brother Mir, we're here to celebrate Mom's life. Every day for her was a celebration. We are so lucky to have had her for 95 years, which is remarkable. 95 active years. Until 2 years ago, she was still golfing, biking, hiking, and she still had the will and desire, but her body was just not really cooperating. She did still play a mean game of pool, and she loved that. I just wanted to say that I'm so blessed because my parents created the most remarkable atmosphere for my childhood, an atmosphere that embraced all colors, all religions, all philosophies, allowing me to follow in their example, to have friends from every walk of life, and to love all equally, which created such a rich, wonderful life. And they were such a beautiful example. My mother was, as an only child, I'm technically an only child, but I look out here and I see all of you that my mother adopted. So I really cannot consider myself an only child. But as an only child, sometimes there wasn't anyone around to play with. So my mom was my playmate, my best friend. We played jacks on the floor. We read stories. We were busted once by the police in Wash Park for climbing trees. True story. True story. River rafting, you name it, hiking, we just had a ball and got into a lot of trouble. I wanted to close with my mother's sense of humor was so amazing. And just until the day she died, she was very sharp, funny, And that's really who she was. And one of my favorite stories occurred just a couple of months ago. And she called me on the phone in the morning and she said, Claude, I just wanted you to know, I'm sorry, this is a little off color, but that's my mother. I just wanted you to know that I had a 3-way last night. I said, what? How come you're getting more action than I am? She said, I don't know, but I had a 3-way. I said, who did you have a 3-way with? She said, I had Seinfeld in the front and Ben Gay in the back. And she immediately followed that with, no, you may not borrow that line. That truly was my mom. So I thank all of you for coming. I love you all. Thank you so much for being such a major part of her life and filling her heart with so much joy. And I know that although physically she won't be here, she will be with all of us. I know she will. So thank you again.
I always called her Rain. I grew up in their house and I would come into the house and she would be lying flat on her stomach. And she'd look at me, she would tickle my back. So I'd sit there and I'd be tickling her back. We went golfing just a few years ago and we were with some other people, another twosome, and she said, "Ooh, that looks like a good club. Can she borrow it?" So I played well, so she went and bought me the club. And then the last time we golfed, she was driving the cart and somebody was gonna cut her off. She's like, "Oh no, I'm old. Get out of my way." So she was there for me unconditionally. Amazing. So
Hold on. I wrote something, so I remember. I was telling my friends, when Rain was starting to get sick very recently, who Rain was. They knew who she was, but when I described her, I said, if there was a way for the dictionary to assign people to certain words, her word would be fabulous, because she really was. And I feel so blessed that we shared such a special relationship. And a lot of the time we spent together was just very simple memories, like me exploring her house. And very particularly, I remember her giving me a lot of Dove ice cream bars. And that was, I don't know, for some reason, that's when I picture my childhood growing up with Rain. That's what I picture. She was basically a grandmother to me. And I remember most that she made me feel like the world was magic. And I think it's because Rain had a lot of magic in her. And she shared that with everyone here today.
I'm the tallest one in the family. My Aunt Lorraine was more of a mother to me at many times when I really needed someone to listen. She just, as everybody said, some of these words, fabulous, wonderful, loving, is exactly who she was. But the first word that comes to my mind when I think about Aunt Lorraine is intelligence. She was the most intelligent person I knew. So worldly and so aware of everything. She could talk to anyone. She and my husband were very close. They loved to just sit in the garden and chat. Aunt Lorraine would call and check in all the time. She was always such a resource of wealth and love. Many knew my Aunt Lorraine as lovely, luscious Lorraine. And she really was. She was, as she said, delicious because she enjoyed life so much and found the best in everybody and everything. Every day was an adventure for her. She was stylish. She knew how to present herself, how to engage in any conversation. She just was so present with everybody, and I really miss her. I was just telling Claudia, my granddaughter always asks me when I come over to tickle her back. And that's so funny. So anyway, thank you all for being here and loving my cousin so much and my aunt.
I thought I'd better make just a quick statement. Obviously, you've all noticed that there's a dog here today, rather unusual. Chelsea was my mother's best friend, always. My mom went with me to pick her up when she was a puppy, and Chelsea sat on her lap on the way home and to the vets. And from that moment, they were just like this. And my mother made me promise for years that when she passed, I would bring Chelsea to her service. So that's why she's here. Thanks again.
Lorraine Ann Shepard Rosenfeldt was born June 10th, 2027 at Beth Israel Hospital in Denver to Tom and Claire. She was close to her mom and to her younger sister, Mitzi, with whom she would later travel through Europe. Her dad, who was in the schmata business, died when she was only 7. So the women went to work while they were young. A number of years later, her mom dated and remarried into a family business of a restaurant. And Lorraine told me that they would cater major banquets in a room next to the radio station KTLN. So it was there that they would stop at the studio to clear off the catering cart. And it was there that they became friends with Chuck and Judy Collins. Remember the name Judy Collins from both sides down. Lorraine met Edward Louis Rosenfeldt through a blind date, but she had seen him playing saxophone in the Army band before that. They kissed on that first date, and that, she said, was that. At first, Ed ran a pawn shop. Then he became a traveling salesman. He advanced to become the promoter of Hello Kitty, which sold accessories for children. And later, he tried his hand at real estate. Like everything he tried, he was good at that too. Claudia said her mom was a tenacious woman with a universal love for all people and all denominations. Lorraine and Ed enjoyed playing charades and listening to music with friends. She remembered with joy going to New York City to see a lot of musicals at the Bonfils. Lorraine worked at Hillel Academy for 20 years as a receptionist, and she confided that it was there that she would string items onto fill-in straps to pass the time. After Ed died, she started working at St. Andrew's Retirement Village as a receptionist, but she didn't tell me what she used to string items there. Lorraine had a longtime friend, Betty Hahn. Together, they climbed to Hanging Lake, went to Crystal, Colorado, biked to Aspen, visited Hawaii and Mexico, and more. We spoke at length for the first time when Lorraine was 93. She told me, I like people. I have friends. I have a social life. It fulfills my needs. It was through others, though, that I learned that it was she who fulfilled needs. Lorraine had one daughter, Claudia, but she raised her as if she was part of a large family. Claudia has a lifelong friend, Heller Sue, who likes to be called Suze. They were inseparable as children, in part because Lorraine and Melissa Hoffman, Suze's mom, met at DU speech and communication majors. They became the closest of friends and planned their lives together. They would marry, build homes next door, have children, and raise them as a big family with each other. And you know what? They did. While Claudia had no children, Suze had a daughter, Maddie, who knew Matt. And Maddie was like a granddaughter to her. Aunt Lorraine to Terry. They visited Terry's family in California every summer. It was special time, even with Mrs. Willie, the babysitter. Terry's dad and Lorraine spent their time together laughing. When Terry remarried, her new husband, Bill, loved Lorraine, her worldliness, her zest for life. Lorraine lived life to the fullest. Lorraine Shirley, one of Claudia's best friends, hit it off with Lorraine, her mom, from the moment they were introduced. They became more than friends. Lorraine Shirley called Lorraine Mommy, and her children called Lorraine Mimi. Lorraine Shirley had said Lorraine was a lover of Native arts and was always welcoming of her entire family. I will miss her smile and going to dinner, said Lorraine Shirley. She was always there when I needed her to be. I will miss her love and her support, Claudia told me. And just as she was so proud when Maddie graduated law school, she was proud of everything that Claudia accomplished throughout life. And Claudia was proud of her mom. Lorraine was artistic and displayed it in her clothing. And that's why you've been asked to wear bright colors today. Always looking vibrant, even if attending a school conference. The lovely, luscious Lorraine was magnetic. After Ed died, she went to theater and concerts with her friends, Tim and Penny Burke. She engaged in conversations, which subsequently brought friendships with people like Joan Rivers, Lily Tomlin, Steven Spielberg. Just walking through the crowd, they would pick her out. She spent 8 years traveling and enjoying the company of Gordon Parker. And Gordon's sons, Lyndon and Jay, were a big part of her life, and she was a big part of theirs. But it wasn't only people. She was given a gift of an adopted elephant at Sheldrick Wild Trust Life, and she loved Latika, the baby elephant. Her beloved dog, Chelsea, has joined us here. Actually, she loved all dogs, she told me, that had pink tongues and wagging tails. And when we talked for the last time, not long ago, I asked her what she would like people to know. And she responded, life is short and beautiful, and laughing is very important. When I die, if you need to weep, cry for someone walking the street beside you. You can love me most by letting hands touch hands and souls touch souls. You can love me most by sharing your simchas, your joys, and multiplying your mitzvot, your acts of kindness. You can love me most by letting me live in your eyes, not on your mind. And when you say Kaddish for me, remember what the Torah teaches. Love doesn't die, people do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away. As you are able, please rise for the Almalay. God, exalted and full of compassion, grant perfect peace in your sheltering presence among the holy and the pure, to the soul of Lorraine Ann Shepard Rosenfeldt, who's gone to her eternal home. Master of mercy, we beseech you, remember all the worthy and righteous deeds that she performed in the land of the living, and may her soul be bound up in the bond of life. May she rest in peace. Shalfei Bamaro Amatei Manuka Nahona Tachatante Hashechina Uma'ala Kedoshim Utaforim Kazohar Kia Matim Et Nishmat Hanalea Batana Vachama Jehovah Lolama Vegan Eden Tehemenuchata Anam Ba'al HaFrachamim Asikracha V'seter Nafecha La'olamim Vitor HaChaim Et Nishmatav Adonai Hu Nachalatav V'tanuach V'shalom Amishtav V'noman Amen. It is a sign of respect to participate in the burial of the deceased. It is called Chesed Shel Emet, kindness of truth. We will ask that the family partake first, and then all who wish to do so come forward to offer a final blessing as the soul returns to God. You are invited to take a rose from the basket and include it as you say goodbye. I invite Lorraine Shirley to offer first a prayer in Navajo and then in English.
Good morning, everybody. In my Navajo language, when we say good morning, hello, we always say yat, means good morning, hello. I am glad and proud and honored to be here to say a prayer in my Navajo language. I'm from up north towards the New Mexico and Arizona state line. That's where I actually was born and raised, and I moved into Phoenix over 35 years ago, and I have resided there since then. So within those 35 years I resided in Phoenix, I met Claudia. I was working for a real estate agent, and she needed a cleaning lady. And so my real estate agent sold the house, the condo, to Claudia, and asked if I could help Claudia with the cleaning that she wanted. So that's how I met her. And from the very first time I visited her house, me and her just hit it like we were meant to be. So I started organizing her house and saying, you don't need this there, you don't need that there. And she goes, can you just clean my house? And I said, yeah, I'll clean your house. So we just hit it like that from day one. So for 17 years, I've known Claudia. And so when Claudia moved back to Denver, that's the very first time I met her mom, Lorraine. And she, as everybody has said, welcomed me with open arms and took me in. And she says, you're a part of my family. You're my daughter, you know, just like Claudia. So I said, oh, okay. And then when I brought my kids all up here to meet her, she goes, well, those will be my grandkids. So they could call me whatever they want to, but I prefer Mimi. So. But I do have 6 kids, 7 grandkids, 5 great grandkids. So that's a lot of Mimis that who are welcome to her. So, but with this said and done, I would like to say a little small prayer in my Navajo language, and then I will read it back to you in English. So let's bow our head. God, the in Yahweh, Hodeya, Nastabakaya, Hoya, Edabilia, Hode, Yat El Sheko, Nastabakai, Hashin, Nakago, it's Isaiah, Hoya, Kapita, Ikehana, Hode, Yat El Ebata season code, Hode, Nastabijit, Hokeda, Edabilia, Lorraine, Hode, Yat El Shea, Canada could be English, little Nasa, and Nani Catholic, the other Hoya Ashtiha, Shea, not that could be safe coded. Hode, and Shea, Hako, that many the alien head then. Where Ashishiva holds Jesus, Shea, not that could be safe coded. Being God, Hode, Yat Elhaya, getting English, Yat Elhaya, Tsisaya, Yahanana Sadolish now waiting. Being God, in Jesus, in God's name, amen. So I said, God of creation, as we gather here today to replant Lorraine into Mother Earth, we pray that you welcome her with open arms. Lorraine was a mom, aunt, and a very best friend to us all that are here today. May her body rest in peace till we meet again in heaven.
El Mikoma Tavo V'Shalom. May Lorraine go to her place in peace. The flowers are over here. Anyone who would like to participate, please just double shovels. You can. After you shovel, come and grab yours. There are stars whose radiance is visible in Earth, though they have long been extinct. There are people whose brilliance continues to light the world, though they are no longer among the living. These lights are particularly bright when the night is dark, and they light the way for all people. By reciting Kaddish, we keep our loved ones' memories alive in this world. I ask mourners to please rise for the Kaddish. Yikdal, Yikdash, Shemay Rabbah, the Alma, Yibara, Fite, Yamif, Mafite, the Kayakon, Yomefon, Ilkaya, Jahode, Israel, the Adala, Ibisman Kari, the Amen. Yehen Shmei Rabbah Menurach, Malam Ul Almei Almaya, Yitbarach, Yishtabach, Yitba'al, Yitraman, Yitnaseh. Yit Hadar, Yit Allah, Yit Halal, Shmei Kutsha, Barichu, the Ela Minko Birchata Vashirata, Tishvachata Vanyachmata, Damiran Delma Vinru, Amen. Yehe Shilama Rabbamin Shmaya, Rachaim Aminu, Valpo Yisrael, Vinru, Amen. Ocha Shalom, Huya Afe Shalom, Aminu, Valpo Yisrael. That for your straight there and upon all people of the world. Be in the room. Amen. We also keep memories of our loved ones alive through charity. Lorraine's charities of choice are Doctors Without Borders, Smile Train, and the Sheldrake Wild Trust Life. A Macomb asserts that God is everywhere and everything, physical and spiritual, matter and energy. In the spiritual reality, nothing is lost, not the beloved one's purpose, nor their goodness, nor even their real existence. The passage of time cannot remove the memory or wipe away the pain, for consolation is not a natural process. At the end of life, the soul exists eternally, and every soul returns to its makom, its unique place in the world. And that is why we ask God for comfort along the way. Our thoughts now turn from honoring the deceased to comforting the mourners who transition from aninut to avilut. I ask you, as you are able, to form lines facing each other so that there is an aisle for the mourners to pass through as they begin their journey toward healing their spirits. We recite the words of comfort, Hamakom Yinachem Etchem B'toch Sha'ar Avilei Sion Yerushalayim. May God comfort you among the mourners of Zion and Jerusalem. And I remind you to please send hugs with words and eyes and hearts only.
Okay, everybody, please, who's not immediate family, please come here. We are going to form two lines facing each other. Claudia, go ahead and have a seat because you're going to walk through the lines. Okay. So, what do you think? Here. Okay, so yeah, if we could have people on the line here and here, facing each other. Down here. That's okay.
It's up to you. If you immediately leave or if you want to come back.
If you did not pick up a flyer, the flyer has the address for Shiva Minions on it.
Okay, and that concludes our service. Everybody, thank you so much for being here.